Shut up and sit down.
Welcome along, everyone, to the Reddit iRacing League, Season 23, Round 5 from Charlotte Motor Speedway Road Course. A multi-class race tonight. We've got two Chevrolet Impalas. We've got the nationwide car and the car of tomorrow. Joining me is Alex Albert. I am David Haynes. And Alex, qualifying just about to wrap up. I imagine we're going to take a look at that in a second.
Yeah, it's quite eventful. It's interesting to see here that there's quite the mix of cars. We see, two of the Cup cars and then two nationwide cars. So, all right, that's going to be the end of qualifying. Do you want to go ahead and run us through the grid?
Yep, exactly. So, finalized grid now. Starting on the front row is Giovanni Romano, and alongside him, Alex Bueller. So the front row made up of the car of tomorrow. And then on the second row is Austin Burdick and John Patrick in the nationwide car. A little bit lighter, a little bit more nimble through the infield, but not as quick on the oval. Fifth place, Evan Merrill. Sixth, Shane Cameron. Seventh, Edward Behan. And eighth, Tom Ellison. Take us down from ninth, Alex.
Then it's going to be Hunter Reeve and Andrew Fawcett in the Cup cars. They're on the fifth row. Alex Crawford and Nate Franklin share the sixth row, with Antonio Alvarez and Jordan Babcock following them in the seventh row. Then it'll be Mark Antonucci and Philip Linden. Following them will be Brian Beeman and Kyle Smith. In the 10th row will be Justin Lamans and Christopher Flamian. Rounding out our field will be Aaron Thacker, Ryan Verhulst, Justin Hall, Bill Steven, and Jay Sofanek.
Yep, no qualifying times for Ryan Verhulst, Justin Hall, Bill Steven, or Jay Sofianek. So imagine most of them will start because we did see them in the practice session, but maybe just the 2-lap qualifying, wrangling these difficult beasts through the tricky infield. They might have tapped a wall somewhere, gotten off track, or otherwise just not managed to set a valid lap. So they are now starting that one pace lap before we go green for a 45-minute race, expecting a pit stop for about 4 or 5 gallons in both of the cars.
So, David, I'd like to talk a little bit about the how we touched on. There's two different cars here. The Cup cars are going to have much more power, so we think that they'll be able to really make the time on the oval, whereas the nationwide cars, those shown in blue in the simulator, these considered slower class here, will, we think, be a little bit better in the infield. So for those of you viewing at home, the easiest way to tell them apart is the rear spoiler. On the Cup cars, it's going to be, level all the way across. But then on the nationwide cars, it's going to have the two little ears. So if they have the ears, they're a little bit down on the power. And if they have the smooth, then they're a little bit down on the handling. So
yeah, and on the front fascia, the nationwide, the technically slower class car, it's a little bit more upright, a little bit more vertical, and a little bit more smooth on the car of tomorrow, the Cup car. So they're now back up onto the final oval section. Our pace car will be pulling in not too long. We'll get racing for 45 minutes. So they're on the back stretch right now. Not too long, and we'll see. It'll be very interesting as these different classes of cars mix, especially earlier on, because we see that while the Cup car's just slightly quicker, a good driver in the nationwide is absolutely up there. The times are pretty similar. I imagine our overall winner will be a Cup car, but that's not set in stone.
No. Anticipate some good runs out of Giovanni and Alexander Bueller, both known to run well. Evan Merrill, a winner this season, starting 5th. Expect him to probably get around the second row here early on,
So
and Giovanni's
pace cars on the
away.
lane. Yep, Giovanni Romano gets a great jump, as does Alex Bueller, and behind them, the nationwide cars a little bit more stacked up. They're going to go too wide to the very slow corner onto the infield. No door-to-door bumps there. Looks pretty clean so far, I think.
Yeah, Bueller sticking right with Giovanni. Our leader starting to open up a bit of a gap here. Tom Ellison's got by Merrill there for 5th place.
Yep, great jump from Tom Ellison, actually. He's really taking advantage through the infield.
Yeah, that's where his car in that class is going to have their advantage, so, you know, got to make hay where the sun shines.
So here comes Hunter Reeve on the oval, using that horsepower, try and get himself up some spots. He's going to go to the inside of, I think that was Edward Behan. Now he's going to be alongside Shane Cameron, potentially. That horsepower difference is very evident there on the back straight.
Yeah. Ooh, as we can see here, it looks like Crawford making a pass there into one on the 808. Oh, is he not going to be able to make it stick, though? Edward Behan's going to hold on to that position.
Yeah, Crawford did come really hot under the brakes, made up a lot of ground there, but behind him, he's got quite a few cup cars. Whoa! Squirrely moment from Edward Behan, and now Crawford will get through.
Yeah, and it looked like just ahead, Merrill having a little bit of trouble there. Tom Ellison almost got by. Ooh, as we see Burdick there off in the grass. Oh, and now Crawford's in the grass. Oh, and gets a little bit of contact there with the wall. Crawford trying to get it going. Most of the field's going to get by here.
So Fawcett got a lot of horsepower. What's Crawford up?
Whoa. It's getting very eventful here as Burdick really checked up there on the backstretch. Fawcett about got into him. Then Franklin was there as part of it. Burdick able to run a little bit hotter there on the high line. Seems like Burdick's got a bit of a oval setup. All right, so Flamian there with solo incident. Got loose, crashed into the wall. Turn 1 is a very tough place here at this track.
Yeah,
wow.
The brakes on these cars not easy, and they come into that corner very hot. It's a rather slow one, and there's a wall right on the exit, so no room for error there. And obviously, Christopher Flamian, one of the first drivers to get caught out.
So I know it's early going, but shout out here to the Shane Cameron car. Good run up there in 6th. That's where he started. Looks like nothing gained, nothing lost, but good run from Cameron. A little bit higher up the grid than we've seen him in years past, so congratulations to that improvement. But Giovanni continuing to lead a bit of a clinic here tonight.
Yep, 1.5 seconds clear of Alex Bueller now. 3rd place is John Patrick. That's our leading nationwide car. But I feel like Evan Merrill in one of the Cup cars might slowly catch him up. But then Evan Merrill's holding up Tom Ellison a little bit.
Ellison making a move there, getting around Merrill here in the infield section where he's a little bit quicker.
Watch Merrill on the oval, though, because, whoa, Tom gets a big bit of the grass on the exit of the corner, and then you just can't make it turn. He's clipped a little bit of the fence, and Merrill is back through. I think without that, Evan still had the horsepower advantage on the oval, though. As JP's gotten past Bueller.
Well, yeah, Bueller fell back there on that little short straightaway in the infield. He overshot that right-hander up the hill, went off in the grass. A couple of them got by, but now he's going to use that horsepower to fight back.
But JP, way deeper on the brakes into turn 1, managed to make it work around the outside.
Whoa, big move. Here goes Franklin.
And he has unfortunately skipped all the way across the grass in turn 1, missed his braking zone, and clobbered. Who was that? It was Shane Cameron. So Shane Cameron and Nate Franklin getting together, and not Shane Cameron's fault in the slightest.
No, it looked like, to me, like Franklin just got in there a little too deep. Thought he was going to get in the back of, I'm not sure who that
Hunter
was
Reeve.
he was running there with. Hunter Reeve went to avoid ruining Hunter Reeve's day and ended up ruining Cameron's instead. Bad luck. I think that's just a racing deal, though.
Yep, tough indeed.
All right, well, yeah. All right, so we're going to be with Hunter Reeve here.
Yep, he's got Edward Behan and Andrew Fawcett behind him. Fawcett in the same class of car. Edward Behan might be able to outbrake him into turn 1 or somewhere through the infield. I'm really loving this difference in dynamic between the two cars. Oh, Behan just gets
that's
in
808's
too
going to
hot
be in the
into
wall.
turn 1.
Yeah, the 808 got in there way too hot. Did he hit the wall?
So he's gone in too hot and then trying to rejoin the racing surface.
Yeah, Justin Hall got a piece of that. Yeah, I'm going to put that down on Behan. He was the one that left the surface. He needs to show more care in rejoining it. That's an unsafe rejoin. Hopefully. Our producer's saying that's a bit. Hall maybe didn't have as many options there. Getting hit by Crawford at just about the same time there with a bit of a sideswipe. So tough luck. All of them are going to have to move on and see if they can sacrifice them out of this race. Got a fast repair tonight, David. So that's maybe something some of these guys are starting to think about.
Yeah, and I think a pretty wide fuel window as well. I'm not going to say that they could come down on pit road now and fuel it to get to the end, but definitely it sounded like from some of the drivers that 20 gallons total was needed, and they were starting with about 15, so not a whole lot of fuel required.
Right. I'm going to assume that the tires matter a lot. It's not just the fuel, because Nate Franklin continues out there doing cycles, even whenever his car's pretty tore up. So where are we at there, Director?
So we're looking 11th, 12th, and 13th. So Shane Cameron leads Brian Beeman, and then Kyle Smith behind them. I reckon he'll have a go on the oval here because he's got more horsepower in that Cup car. So he doesn't quite get it hooked up, but now he gets the power down on the oval and he'll start closing him.
Power. Unleash those horses.
Closing speed on the backstretch here, rather intense. So he's probably going to look to the inside of Brian Beeman as Kyle Smith, but those Nationwide cars on old tyres holding it well. So the pace clearly dropping off a little more for the Cup cars than the Nationwide cars, because that what would be NASCAR's turn 3 and 4. The Cup cars just not looking quick through there on worn tires.
No, it's impressive the speed that the Nationwide cars are able to carry through there. I guess those little ears on their spoiler really do give them the extra downforce.
Yeah, so third position, Evan Merrill's gotten by on Alex Bueller, who seems to be struggling a little bit, or maybe he's thinking about fuel consumption or some such. But Evan Merrill's got ahead of him, but they're very close together. Now coming back onto the oval, Alex Bueller gets a better run. He's in that slipstream of Evan Merrill. Let's see if he thinks about a move.
And we know
at the moment. Yeah, just looking at that bumper of Evan Merrill, maybe trying to get into his head, but he gets to a lower line. Will he get the power down on the exit low? I'm not sure. Side by side.
Into the braking zone, Bueller advantage. And Merrill's, I think, is going to let him have it. It's too tricky to go through here side by side. Just need to stay with him through this tight section and then maybe work him over on the oval next time by.
Yeah, Evan Merrill's a wily competitor, so I'm sure he's got a plan in his head. Not fight this too hard. Maybe he's looking towards the pit stops later. Great battle, 6th down through to 9th. Andrew Fawcett and Hunter Reeve are leading that, but Austin Burdick making a little bit of a fight back after he was qualified third on the grid, and he's now back in 8th, but I'm sure hoping to make some of that up.
Yeah, so these guys at the front, they don't want to lose too much time to the leader fighting amongst themselves or to the cars chasing behind, because Ellison is just out of draft range, but if these boys up front mess around too much, he'll be right there to scoop up the points. And now's is probably a good time to mention how the points are going to work. So each class can earn the maximum points here. So the winner of each class will get the maximum point. And that means that right now, John Patrick is the winner as much as Giovanni Romano.
Yep, precisely. I'm having a lot of fun here watching Austin Burdick really close up through the infield on Andrew Force and Hunter Reeve. They've got those more powerful but slightly more ungainly cars. And through these up and down bits off camber sections, the Cup car really struggles a little more, but then they hold on to it, coming back onto the oval, and that's where they've got the advantage.
Yeah. Andrew Fawcett running well in the order, but it looks like a little bit of storm damage on the back of his race car there. Like a tree has hit it. As we see Hunter Reeve all over the back of the 9-4 here as they work through NASCAR 3 and 4.
Well, it could have been Hunter Reeve, because looking at his car, it looks a little bit like a tree. Hunter did really well on the oval, but then he's backing off very early on the brakes into turn 1 there. So different driving styles, different tactics.
Looks like Babcock making a move on Burdick. He's going to make that stick.
Yeah, indeed. And I think also catching up onto this is one of my favorites, Antonio Alvarez, in a Juan Pablo Montoya inspired livery. So he's been putting in some quick laps as well. Nearly 3/4 of a second quicker than Austin Burdick on the last lap around. He might like to move himself up into what would be 3rd in class.
If Antonio could qualify a little better, I think he would be leading more races. Man, he is so fast in the second half, or even the second 2/3 of these races.
Yeah, it was just a week ago that he was buried very deep in the pack and made a great run of it, same as what he's doing tonight, but obviously he just can't put together one flying lap under pressure, but racing pretty well right now.
So the fastest car on the track right now is Alexander Buehler. That's the first time I can say that. I believe this race, every other lap I've seen, it's been Giovanni Romano, our leader. So it's by about a half a second. So maybe Romano starting to wear out those tires. Maybe they're starting to come around to Buehler. Buehler, we know he's one that likes to he's the only one I've ever seen wear out a set of iRacing tires all the way down to they pop. So maybe he knows all the tricks when they get worn down.
Yeah, potentially, indeed. And now
here we go. As Buehler's working on Patrick on the backstretch. That's a pass for position.
Indeed it is. So it's that straight bit on the backstretch where they've really got the advantage. They come into this ovals turn 3 and 4, and he's not quite... it's pretty even with JP, and then John Patrick might be able to break deeper into turn 1, but I think that's move done unless Alex Buehler gets a little squirrely through the infield.
I think this lap car might get in the way a little bit here. That's Mark Antonucci. That's going to slow down these front runners a little bit here in the infield section, but that's part of multi-class racing. Everyone's going to have to deal with it.
Good run from Jordan Babcock, though. He's just got ahead of Hunter Reeve, and now I think he's got Andrew Fawcett in his sights. So Babcock recovering very strong.
Yeah, so Babcock up 7 positions from where he started. Just not able to get one together during qualifying, but we know Babcock putting a lot of effort into this event. bringing out a brand new car. Oh, is Ryan Verhulst able to really get that high side working in the Nationwide car? We continue to see those Nationwide cars able to run really strong on the oval.
Yeah, Verhulst now a lap down on these guys, but potentially because he has pitted, which when I assume he would have taken new tyres. So the Nationwide cars on fresh tyres, much quicker through the twistier bits. So this is a great scrap here. Fawcett leads, Babcock leads Hunter Reed, with Austin Burdick and Antonio Alvarez right on the tail as well. So great battle, and Hunter Reed now looking to get back past Babcock. So 4 cars, throw a towel over him.
Yeah, this is the best battle that we have right now. This is a 5-car battle. I think that right here, Fawcett's going to make it happen this time. The question is, can Babcock get through as well? I think he will. I don't think Babcock wants to let Fawcett get away here. He's to clear Verhulst here before they get to 3 and 4. Verhulst probably going to run the high line here. Might be able to get alongside Babcock into the braking zone.
He does. He ducks back underneath and maybe just lifts out to not try and outbrake this time. So that puts a car between Babcock and Hunter.
Oh no! Oh no, as Fawcett just gets in turn 1 too deep. We had mentioned how tricky turn 1 is.
And then just locks it up, can't get it turned. He's on his roof and gets collected by Antonio Alvarez, who continues, but with a car that's looking a little bit secondhand. That's a disaster for Fawcett, though.
Yeah, so Fawcett, I think he just got in there a little bit too deep, just not able to get the car turned. It really gets flat there, gets a bit dirty, too, with some of the cars running through the grass. And, well, you guys can see what happened. The Chevy lost the battle with the wall. And the 24 there doing a little loop-de-loop and getting some more screen time. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a quick check-in on the running order here as we anticipate pit stops within the next few laps as we're approaching halfway.
Yep, exactly.
Come again?
So we'll start with the standings for our Cup cars. So that's still led by Giovanni Romano. Second is Alex Bueller, and then Evan Merrill third in that. And then behind, 4th and 5th is Jordan Babcock and Hunter Reed. That's a great battle going on. And Alex, run us through the Nationwide car.
So John Patrick will be your leader, followed by Tom Ellison in second. Tom is going to be just about 2 seconds behind Patrick. So once Merrill gets through here, this is going to be an interesting battle. Then 3rd, 4th, and 5th will be Burdick, Alvarez, Beeman. And they're all there together. So really getting spicy, top 5, both classes here. So how would you cut up the pit strategy on this race, David?
I reckon you would honestly look at going halfway because we see how much the tyres are dropping off. For example, Giovanni Romano is nearly 2 seconds off his best lap. And we've seen that, especially in the Cup cars, they're really hurting through the infield and through ovals turn 3 and 4 on the older tyres. So you'd be tempted to split it in half and let the tyre life dictate your strategy more than the fuel consumption does.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way I would do it. It's the simplest way. I think that we'll see some, as we do now, some of the guys running closer to the back of the field or pitting now. They're going to try to undercut some of those guys running ahead of them. Try to get out there, set those fast times now while the other guys are on the slow tires. Get that track position and hopefully make their car really wide. Hold the position while the other guys' tires wear out running along behind them. But I think that someone like Antonio maybe does the overcut, waits a little bit longer, gets on those fresh tires so he's really, really fast there at the end and able to make those moves stick and get those last couple positions in the closing laps.
Yep. Interesting one, not for position, but Tom Ellison in that Nationwide car starting to catch up to Evan Merrill in the Cup car. It looks like with the more horsepower, the tyres falling away quicker on the Cup car. It gives a little advantage to the Nationwide cars at this point. And Tom Ellison has maybe held onto those tyres a little better.
Yeah.
This has been a problem for Jordan Babcock. He's dropping down the orders there. He was leading Hunter Reeve, and I'm going to quickly have a look at what happened to him on the infield. He's just come in too hot. Thing hasn't turned. He's got a bit of grass, and then Hunter Reeve's gotten through, and Austin Burdick has gotten through. So Jordan Babcock, just a little error, and not managing to make the car turn in the infield with those old tires.
No, but if you're going to make a mistake here, I'll take that mistake. He went off the same place that we saw Bueller go off earlier, but he lost much less time. Oh, now here we go. Babcock deciding he's had enough of those tires.
Fair enough decision, I would say. So he's going to be one of the first Cup cars to pit. We'll have to keep an eye on what his lap times are like when he comes out. 24 minutes to go, not quite at the halfway yet, but I think the undercut might be pretty powerful, and I imagine if there's not too much difference in the tyres, it's not going to be easy to pass, especially in the Cup cars which can't hold it flat through turns 3 and 4.
All right, so let's take a look here at Babcock as he exits. This pit exit is very, very tricky as he's coming out in front of our leader. Ooh, lots of respect shown there.
Yeah, very, very tight pit exit that puts you straight onto the racetrack. It'd be difficult for the cars exiting and the cars entering, but a lot of respect there from Jordan Babcock. So now he's out, he's got these new tyres, and Evan Merrill and Alex Bueller have also come down onto the pit lane following Jordan Babcock's example. I think a lot of these Cup car guys are absolutely sick of that set of tyres. They're looking for some new ones.
But here's the problem, David. If you pit now, you have to go even farther on the next set.
Yeah, it just leads into how much do you want the track position, because taking the undercut now will give you the track position, and then if you think you might be able to defend even just a little bit on the older tyres, then you'd take the risk. Also, Austin Burdick coming down onto the pit lane, a lot of activity there. So
yeah, and your leader
about halfway, it's about tyre time.
Yeah, it looks like the pay window's open down there in the pit lane. Here we go. We see some cars coming out. It looks like Babcock's going to get around Merrill here. So this undercut worked beautifully for the 30 car. And the engineers of the 42 car. Oh, no!
Babcock locks it up, goes wide, and immediately cracks under the pressure of Evan Merrill too. Babcock's not lost too much from that. But, yeah, he saw Evan in his mirrors and immediately locked up. So just about everyone taking the pits. Only person staying out is Hunter Reeve. So he will assume the race lead, but only just over Giovanni Romano, who's already taken his pit stop.
So it looks like Ellison had got around JP before the stops. So that's interesting.
Yeah, when this all shakes out, we'll definitely have to do another rundown, see where everyone stands, but not many people brave staying out. Just Kyle Smith and Hunter Reeve and Aaron Thacker. Everyone else in your field taking serve.
So I went back, took a look at that. It was on lap 20 there for JP in the infield section. That right-hander, turn 4, I think it is, leading on to that little straightaway. Just ran wide, got in the grass. That allowed Tom to close in those 2 seconds and get by. And then they went ahead and they came into the pits immediately. Tom wanted to go ahead and get off those tires, both of them taking their faster pairs. Tom with a little bit quicker time through the lane there. Let me check my scoring, but just visually, it looks like he made up time on John Patrick. Yeah, about 1.2 seconds on the timing and scoring, and visually, it looks like even more. Got Hunter Reeve on the lane. Here comes Kyle Smith also down the lane.
That's all of our Cup cars now taking service. Only person out there who hasn't pitted yet, Aaron Thacker, either knows something we don't or doesn't know something we do.
Yeah. Let's go with the latter. So the 816 not having much screen time tonight, but he's running the Coors Light nationwide colors. Got her up there to 6th position. You know, maybe Aaron, he's one always worried about the brand, might be staying out just hoping to get a little bit of screen time. But he's up 16 positions right now before the pit stop. Yeah, running about 4 seconds off the leader's pace, so I'd say it's about time to get off those tires. What do you think, David?
Unless he thinks he can get to the end on fuel, I can't see how this is a tire strategy that helps you out. Theoretically, I was looking at it. If you could save a lot of fuel, it was possible to no-stop this race. But with how much the tires are falling off, it doesn't look like the fastest strategy. But
whenever the tires fall off, that does help save fuel because you can spend less time on the loud pedal. It's just the tires can't handle it. Oh, yeah, but so we see Thacker's really struggling. Bert Dick is going to get him here before long.
Yeah, Austin's already taken some pit service and is doing seconds per lap quicker, so he closes up massively on the infield here, even as he locks up some inside front tires a little bit. What's he going to do to get around? He's going to try to swing it inside, get the power down quicker. I think that's probably job done, as now Evan Merrill's looking for some of this as well.
Man, Evan Merrill really showing that horsepower advantage here and just able to drive past both those guys like they're sitting there in Miatas. Wow.
Yep, and those relatively young tires, he manages to keep the pace through the final oval turn. So that's he's closing up a lot there. He's 3rd in class.
Yeah, so finally Thacker on the lane there. And let's go ahead and turn back and look at the leader of our second class. Give some screen time to Mr. Tom Ellison here in the Goodwrench-inspired Dale Earnhardt-themed paint job. The number 27 car here with a nice run in this year's championship. And another good run here tonight. This will be a great points haul if the 27 can close it out.
You get some good service there from lap down number 25, Bill Stephen, right out of his way. So good run onto the oval that time from Tom Ellison. He's now, I'm seeing it as just about 2.5 seconds clear of John Patrick and a little bit faster the last lap around. Fastest car out there on the track, though, Evan Merrill.
Yeah, he's really burning it up, and with a bit of clean air there in front of him, I expect that it'll continue here. Ooh, as we see the 14 coming out after some service. Lehman's there, surely to give Ellison a bit of a scare, but there was plenty of room. Everyone got through.
JP now
and here we go.
Out of Ellison, though.
Oh, I thought we were going to have a collision between Verhulst and Merrill. Looks like Verhulst is going to pull over and let Merrill go.
And Austin Burdick tries to get through there as well. Evan Merrill got more horsepower in his car, though. We might soon see him trying to get by Ellison and Patrick.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I'm not sure that he'll get there.
So now the fastest car out on track goes to Nate Franklin with a 1:06.958, and he's going to try and get after Hunter Reeve for 5th place in class. Nate's been a little bit buried in that class.
Yeah, Nate having that very bad moment earlier when he about took out Hunter Reeve and ended up taking out Shane Cameron instead. Now, though, after the fast repair, the 24 Jeff Gordon paint schemed car is looking very good. Fastest car on the track the lap before. Pretty quick this time, making up time on Alvarez ahead and on Reeve. But also speaking of that earlier crash with Shane Cameron now the fastest car on the track.
It's interesting how it can go back and forth between the different classes of car, depending on maybe where they get a draft, what the traffic is. We've seen it go back and forth between the Nationwide and the Cup car as to which one's fastest at any given moment.
But there's been one constant here this evening, and that's been Giovanni Romano as your leader. So Giovanni from Canada continuing to lead this clinic here. He's got the gap now out to 17.5 seconds over Alexander Bueller.
Yeah, as we're now within 15 minutes to go. That's a pretty healthy lead. Giovanni Romano doesn't need to take any risks.
Now, Bueller's car with his traditional teal and black paint scheme. This one looks like a bit of a special edition though, there with the hood art.
Yeah, he's got I believe the kids are calling it a dank Mimi on his car there. Don't know if that gives any horsepower, but I'm sure it makes him feel better.
All right. So then further down or back the track, go to Tom Ellison, third in the overall running order. First in our hearts and in the nationwide standings. John Patrick matching the pace pretty closely and actually a little bit faster than Ellison on that last lap, but the gap is at about 3.5 seconds. So with about 13 laps to go, we'll keep our eye on this battle and see if Patrick, the newest mod in the RiL, can close up that gap. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hearing Sven Dimmel, the champion emeritus, is our newest mod. Apologies, Sven.
Yeah, he's more of an auto mod. JP, I haven't seen enough pace out of him that he might be able to catch Tom Ellison without problems for the number 27 car. The times are just too close going back and forth. John Patrick's just not taken enough out of him.
Now, JP's a safe racer. I'm sure just looking to get those points. So, still a great run, though. Second place in class. Going to be a lot of points tonight. Can we have
here's a closer
Merrill
battle in class. Oh, Coffard's just gone into the wall, trying
no.
too hard to catch Shane Cameron. They were within a second. It was one of our closest battles on track. And then coming back up onto the oval, Alex Coffard's just kept that loud pedal pinned too tightly. It's come out from underneath him, and he's gone up.
Oh, and he's just oversteered into the barrier. Yeah, well, that's a shame.
Now Mark Antonucci gets by, and Alex Coffard's going to have to bring that thing down to the pits, I assume. Probably quite a bit of damage on that. He's still got it rolling, though.
So, if we go a little bit farther back, we have the three-car battle of Burdick, Reeve, and Franklin. There's about 6 seconds separating Babcock back to Franklin with Reeve in the middle here. It looks like Franklin is the fastest of the three, but he's got the worst track position. So I expect these gaps to all close down here in this final 11 laps.
Yeah, and Babcock, Reeve, and Franklin all pitted on the same lap, tires the same age. So it's all about, and with a fixed setup as well, it's all about what's in the driver's seat to see who will grab that fourth position, because fourth through to sixth, it is close.
And while we're looking, if we can look at the 30 car, you know, it's got the Steelers paint job on it. And as most fans of the NFL know, the Steelers actually scored more points on Thursday night than they ever have at Heinz Field. It was an absolute trouncing of the Carolina Panthers. So I'm sure Babcock loved that. And His Team Juju paint job here looking very good. As Babcock catching a draft off of Fawcett here on the oval. Fawcett a lap down there after those earlier problems where he tried to knock down the turn 1 wall.
Yep, thankfully they build them a little bit sturdier than the cars out of concrete and steel, but Babcock getting a significant draft off that big mate punching a hole in the air, and Fawcett is a gentleman, gives him the spot, and then gets a bit wiggly there, but hopefully he'll also give Reeve and Franklin the same treatment. Behind them, though, I think Brian Beeman's taking significant time out of Antonio Alvarez for what would be 4th in the nationwide class. So those guys within a second. Beeman taking time out of our favorite South American.
Yeah, as the Colombian rocket there sticks
a bit of grass as well.
In the grass, yeah. It's going to be hard to put the power down when you're putting your tires in the grass.
It's on. There's just a car
really in traffic here. Yeah, this is kind of a tough position here for the 20 to be in with the 41 all over the back of him. He's dealing with these lap cars. He's got the 14 and the 164 of Hall ahead. So Justin Layman's and Justin Hall.
Would have hurt Alvarez a little bit, but Beeman didn't get the power down onto the oval quite as well. So it stays about the same. Looking at the difference in the tire life with these guys, again, same age tires between these two. So this is just a good old-fashioned scrap. As Hall is on the brakes a little bit early, probably goes wide. Does that let Alvarez through? It does. Beeman's going to have to work his way through as well. Hall squeezes him down a little bit for a lapped car. He's not letting these two through in a hurry. That was nearly a tongue twister.
Yeah, I think it's about time for Hall to get out of the way and let the boys race.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It was a good-looking battle to watch, and now we've got a lapped car between them. But Alvarez isn't scooting away because Layman's isn't letting him through either. Now Hall gets out of the way, intentionally or by accident.
Did he get some help by the 41? I mean, we had went through 6 corner stations with blue flags. By that time, maybe the 41 just had to let him know.
I think Hall just got too deep on the brakes for him there.
All right, so we just saw Thacker drive straight in the wall. Yeah. So
strategy didn't work out for him, and now is not gotten any better for him as he just missed his braking point into turn 1. Indeed he has, and that's such a tough one. You can lock up the tires, the car starts going straight, and then there's nothing you can do to avoid that wall on the outside of turn 1. It's such a horrible feeling when you know well in advance that you're going to hit it, and there's nothing you can do to slow the car down enough or get the tires unlocked.
Yeah, Bill Steven taking another trip down the lane. Giovanni Romano continuing to open up the lead. It's now out to 20 seconds. Alexander Bueller circling around here, coming onto the front stretch. He's your
Reeve's starting to put pressure on Babcock, though.
All right, yeah, Reeve all over the back of Babcock here. Really having a sniff.
Franklin's dropped away from that one a little bit, but Reeve will definitely be giving Jordan Babcock something to think about as the 808 and Heartbreak stays on the high line there. Nearly separates them a little bit. Will he let these through too? Nope. Deep on the brakes goes that car of... Behan, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to not be what Franklin wants to see. Franklin wants to see the 046 get up there, hassle the 30, both of them lose a little bit of pace, and allow the 24 to get in the battle here. I see the 808 continuing to hold up the 046. This is going to allow the 30 to sneak away a bit.
Yeah, you could say that the 808 has Hunter Reeve in a bit of a snare. Now on the backstretch, though, that power difference will be helping out Hunter Reeve. He gets the horsepower down, and it just keeps on pulling that big Chev V8, doing what it needs to.
Right, Hunter Reeve was the fastest car on the track last lap. That kind of broke his stride, so let's see if he can gather it back up here and start closing that gap back down. I thought he was going to make a move, before that last lap.
Right under Babcock's bumper a lap ago, and now the gap's out to a 1.5 seconds.
And Patrick just got lost a position to Burdick just ahead.
Yeah, that's for second in that class.
Yeah.
So JP losing out to Burdick, who was leading and then came unstuck on lap 1 or 2 and has now made a bit of a charge back through the field, now up into second, but with 5 laps to go, not going to be able to catch Tom Ellison, I wouldn't think.
No, and good run by Burdick. Known for his oval chops, not so much his road racing skills, but really showing that he can get one of these heavy stock cars around a roval here tonight. It's going to be about 5 to go next time by.
And Reeve back in the slipstream of Babcock, though. Less lap traffic, and without that, Reeve looking like the quicker car. Both of them on some pretty worn tyres, getting to 35 laps old. Taking that higher line through turns 3 and 4 on the oval. How deep can Hunter Reeve brake and still get it turned into T1? He's pretty conservative on the brakes, but that serves him well to get to the apex and get the power down early. And boy, is there plenty of power to get down.
Yeah, Babcock having trouble getting that power down. Coming out of 1, big wiggle out of the 30 car here. Now Babcock needs to keep it tidy. He's cracked earlier under the pressure, drove it in the grass. There's no time for that now. As you see, two great battles here in the midfield. We have the Cup battle with Reeve and Babcock, but then we have Burdick and Patrick just ahead, also for position in their class.
Yep, and how it's going at the moment, they're doing similar laps between the classes at the current state of tyre wear. Reeve gets onto the oval very well, though. Now he's about just 4/10 behind Babcock. Time's running out for Hunter Reeve. He's going to have to throw a move somewhere if he wants to get that 4th position.
Yeah, if I'm Reeve, I'm going to sit here 2 more laps, turn up the pressure, see if we can get Babcock to crack. If he doesn't, make a move with 2 to go. If that doesn't stick, we still have the last lap.
Reeves still braking a little bit earlier into turn 1, but getting it turned down to the apex better. I think with old tyres in a car like this with a lot of horsepower, it serves you well to be a little bit patient, really roll the car into the corners, focus on your corner exit, which Hunter Reeve does, and now they're as close as they have ever been.
Yeah, and here we go. Reeve keeping the pressure on. It's Patrick keeping the pressure on Burdick ahead. I think that they're all going to be in the frame here before long. I think these Cup cars are going to catch those guys.
They might just do gentle onto the oval from Reeve again, but very controlled. And it's Babcock who's looking a little more on the ragged edge. I think this is advantage Hunter Reeve. It's just a matter of when will he get a good enough run to put a move on Jordan Babcock.
Yeah, I stick by my prediction. Wait another lap or so. Oh, and there we go. That's what he needed. That's what Reeve was trying to force by turning up the pressure. Babcock's now made the mistake. His car is wounded. Will he be able to stay ahead?
So you can see now how much they're struggling through that final oval turn, though. Babcock just getting up into the outside wall and through the infield here. Reeve goes to the inside. He's just gonna get a nose. Has to back out through the little kink here. But
it's Merrill running wide. Merrill's just ahead now. Merrill looks to have damage.
Even Merrill, that's the podium in the Cup class. And Jordan Babcock, Hunter Reeve looking right at him as well. Reeve could go for a podium.
Yeah, certainly nothing is out of the question at this point. This is going to be exciting. Here we go. Reeve with a great run out of the corner. Have to believe a car that's turning better. Reeve saw Babcock try to knock the wall down. He knows the condition his car's in.
Reeve really rolls it into the corner, focuses on getting the exit. It's not quite close enough this time. Evan Merrill ahead, no damage on his car. He just got 2 wheels in the grass, couldn't keep it turned through the infield last time. So he's gonna still have the pace to defend, but he is right in the picture as next time, I think Giovanni Romano about to take the white flag. Yep, indeed. So he comes past the start-finish line. White flag in the air for Giovanni Romano. Very comfortable lead, 22 seconds for our overall and class leader. Eyes back on, I reckon, Hunter Reeve, though.
Yeah, Hunter Reeve all over the back of Babcock. I think he's going to have a look this time.
He just about have to. These guys are going to get the white flag this time. So there'll only be 2 tries into turn 1 for Hunter Reeve to be able to put the move on Jordan Babcock. Closest they've ever been through the oval.
This is last try into turn 1, mate. Getting the white flag here.
Yeah, indeed. So Hunter Reeve again braking early, but doing very well to turn it towards the apex and get the exit. And differing styles of how to drive the car. Babcock carrying a lot more speed into the corners, but not rolling it through. So Reeve, once again, he looks to the inside, gives a little tap to Babcock. Nearly some Arca moves there, but I think Hunter Reeve gets out of the throttle because he didn't want to do it that way.
Let's keep our eyes here, but Giovanni Romano just crossed the line, your winner.
Yeah, Alex Bueller now crossing the line as well to get second in that class.
Oh, and here we go. Reeve all over the back of him. Close as he's been yet. And Tom Ellison crossing the line to win that class. Burdick and Patrick are pretty well sorted. They're going through 3 of 4 now.
What can Hunter Reeve do between here and the line, though?
I'm not sure if he can do much.
Roll it down low. There's not much he can do. Jordan Babcock's better on the oval, gets the power down, and that will be Evan Merrill 3rd, Jordan Babcock 4th, Hunter Reeve 5th in your cup class there. Behind them, Brian Beeman, Antonio Alvarez still fighting, but I think Beeman's just got the power down. Alvarez, who fought him all the way to the line for what's 4th and 5th in the nationwide class.
All right. Wow. So I'll go ahead and let you give us a rundown through the field, and I'm going to see if we can talk to our leaders. I'm going to go down to the paddock.
All right. So we'll do this by class, not by overall, because that's how the points are handed out. In your cup class, our winner, Giovanni Romano, didn't put a foot wrong. Strategy was perfect, and a very healthy 22 or so second win for him. Second place is Alex Bueller. Then third goes to Evan Merrill. Fourth, Jordan Babcock hold off Hunter Reeve for 5th. Nate Franklin 6th. Kyle Smith grabs 7th. Philip Linden grabs 8th. Andrew Fawcett, not the race he wanted, 9th for him, and 10th, Justin Lamans. Looking at the very close but slightly slower class, the nationwide cars, a winner there, Tom Ellison. Congratulations go to him. Then Austin Burdick gets 2nd. From 3rd is John Patrick. 4th, Brian Beeman holds off Antonio Alvarez for 5th. 6th, Shane Cameron. 7th, Mark Antonucci. 8th, Alex Coffard. 9th, Edward Behan. 10th goes to Justin Hall. And several laps down is Ryan Verholst, Bill Steven, Aaron Thacker, Chris Flamion, and not taking the start to my knowledge was Jay Safianek.
I should also mention that we have 2 hard chargers. I guess it's only fair with the multi-class, right? We have Babcock and Beeman both up 7 positions, so they can both share. Well, you know what? Let's give them each their own case of Dick and Cider for being the hard charger.
Be the charitable thing to do. Now, Alex, who have you managed to grab from the paddock?
So I have our winners here with us. So let's talk to Giovanni Romano first. Giovanni, nice win again tonight. Just drove away from the field. Bit of a clinic. Can you talk us through how you raced?
Yeah, for the most part, I just played it conservative after I saw, I don't know, some kind of calamity behind me, because it seemed like I think Alexander was pretty close to me on pace, and then I don't know what happened to him. So I decided to just keep the car on the track, basically, especially in turn 1, where if I was easing off on the brakes, getting on the brakes early, because if you mess up there, well, it's death. So I was just sort of riding around, I guess, a little.
Yeah, so we saw a lot of cars having trouble in turn one. You say that it was a very dangerous corner for you. Was there anywhere else that happened to be catching you out there?
I'd say I think is it turn 5? It's the right-hander, and it's kind of hard to find a braking marker there. And if you go a little too wide, you end up in the grass and kind of just slide down the hill. So I was being a bit conservative there too.
Well, good work tonight. Great finish and maximum points. So that's going to help your championship effort. Is there anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
You guys for putting up with my connection. It was a bit spotty tonight. Luckily, it didn't matter too much because it wasn't that close. Otherwise, being the guy who's raced me clean and gave me room to get by. Thanks to them as well.
All right. Well, everyone, that's Giovanni Romano, your overall winner. And all right, David, I also was able to sneak here into the booth with us, Mr. Tomas Rapido. So go ahead and.
Well, Tom, a win in class for you. How good is that?
I'm very happy actually with the way the race went today. I joined a little bit late, and I was able to see that some of the faster guys had chosen the other car. And I decided that discretion was the better part of valor in that respect, and opted for the safer confines of the Nationwide. And I got lucky in that I was able to qualify fairly okay, avoid some carnage in the opening laps, and then JP had a couple of spins that helped me.
Neither of them looked like easy cars to drive, though. Where out there was tough for you, and what were you thinking about fuel and tyre strategy?
In terms of driving the car, turn 1 is obviously very difficult, picking a braking marker and having to move it back every few laps as your tyres go off. So I was being very conservative through there. And also I was really struggling through the left-hander coming back onto the banking after the infield section. I seemed like everyone else who I was racing was faster than me through there. I'm not sure what I was doing wrong, but I was struggling through there. With respect to strategy, I was just being very, very vanilla, keeping things right down the middle, pitted exactly halfway, took tyres, took us a little bit over the fuel that I would need just to be safe, because it's so quick to refuel these cars, and fresh rubber was certainly a nice thing to have.
All right, well, I guess just congratulations to you. Big 40 points underneath your name. Any championship aspirations this season?
I doubt it, frankly. Knowing my power luck, it would be nice to think I could have a run at it. But as we've seen from the earlier races, Babcock very strong on the ovals and actually surprisingly strong in the road cars this season. And Giovanni seems to be quick everywhere. So I think between them and of course Nate Franklin had a bad race today, but he's always right up there. I think those guys are really the favourites that you want to be looking at.
Right. Well, thank you for having a word with us. Anyone you need to shout out?
Big shout out to you guys in the HJBC. I know you put in a lot of work to broadcast these every week, and we really appreciate it as mods of the league. And congrats to my teammate as well, Phil. Seemed to have a decent result in the COT, some good points for the team. And thank you for everyone who turned out tonight and raced. It's great to see such participation in the league continuing through the season.
All right. That was Tom Allison. Thank you very much. Alex, what are we going to do now?
I think we just go ahead and pack it in and thank everyone for coming. It was a wonderful night of racing. Saw some great racing up and down the field. And hopefully everyone can join us again next week to see some. So from myself, Alex Albert here at the HJ Technical Center, Michael Derby behind the scenes, and David Haynes down under. We're the HJBC. This has been the RiL, and thanks for joining us. Good night and mahalo.